The camera's red light blinks at me like a warning. "Come on, Maya, you're blocking the frame," Mom says, waving her hand toward the dining table. I shuffle aside, pretending not to mind. My sister Lila sits at the center, her hair perfectly curled, the Paris skyline printed across her new blouse. Dad adjusts the angle of the candles, my candles, but no one seems to notice. "Okay, ready, smile?" I call out, forcing my voice to sound cheerful. Everyone leans in, faces glowing in the flicker of the 30 tiny flames I had set myself. They grin, arms around each other, champagne glasses lifted, the whole perfect picture of a family in love with itself. Except one thing, I'm not in it. The timer beeps. I press the shutter. The flash fills the room like a lightning strike, white and brief, and then it's gone. "Can I see?" Lila jumps up, peering over my shoulder. "Oh my God, that's cute." "Wait, let's do one more, but I want to hold the ticket this time." She picks up her printed flight confirmation, holding it like an award. Mom beams proud. Dad says, "You earned it, sweetheart." Paris. Not many your age can say that. I nod, because that's what I do. I nod. I agree. I make sure the camera's centered again. When the second photo flashes, I blink too late. The light burns into my eyes. For a moment, all I can see is white. They laugh and chatter while I blink away the blindness. My vision clears slowly, revealing the details. They'll never notice the cake beside the champagne with "Happy 30th Maya" written in soft pink icing. The candles are still unlit. Mom says, "We'll do the cake after the toast, okay?" But the toast keeps stretching. They toast to Lila's courage, her dreams, her bright future, her once-in-a-lifetime trip. No one looks at me. When Lila lifts her glass again, I catch my reflection in the wine, a blur behind the camera lens. I look like a guest at my own party. The cake's scent starts to fade. The wax candles droop under the heat of the room. I hold the lighter, thumb pressed against the switch, waiting for someone to remember. No one does. Dad says, "Let's get a group photo before dinner," and Mom claps her hands. "Maya, sweetheart, can you take one more?" It's like a reflex now. I pick up the camera, step back, frame them just right. Mom leans into Dad. Lila sits front and center, flashing the ticket again. The flash goes off. Another perfect memory without me. No one asks for a photo with me in it. No one ever does. After dinner, the dining room smells of sugar and perfume and everything fake. Lila's suitcase sits by the door, new and glossy. Mom's already taping her itinerary to the fridge. I collect empty glasses, scrape plates, and listen to them talk about museums and croissants. My own name doesn't come up. Aunt Rose lingers near the doorway, her hands tucked into her cardigan. She gives me that knowing look, the kind older relatives give when they see too much. "You okay, kiddo?" she whispers when no one's listening. I nod again. Of course. Rose watches me for a beat longer. "You don't have to always be the calm one." I smile, but it feels like my face is cracking. Someone has to be. She nods, understanding too well, and leaves it there. That's the kind of love we share in this family, quiet, unspoken, afraid of ripples. The house empties by midnight. The balloons start to deflate, folding in on themselves. I stand alone in the kitchen, staring at the cake that's still untouched. I could light the candles now, make a wish. But I don't. Wishes are for people who expect something. Instead, I open the drawer, find a plastic bag, and cover the cake so it won't dry out. I slide it into the fridge beside the leftover casserole. My birthday fits perfectly between leftovers. Later, when I scroll through my phone, I see the post before I even expect it. "Bon voyage, Lila. We're so proud of you, family, forever." The photo I took, the one I'm not in, has already hit 50 likes. My name isn't mentioned. I tap the heart anyway. Old habits. The comments scroll endlessly. Beautiful family. So supportive. What a special night. I want to type something. Anything. Maybe it was my birthday. But what would that do, really? I put the phone face down. In the window's reflection, I catch sight of the candles again, still standing tall, perfect, unused. They look like a row of soldiers waiting for a command that will never come. I reach for the lighter one last time. My thumb flicks the switch. The tiny spark catches. For a heartbeat, the flame hovers at the tip. Then I blow it out. No light, no celebration, just air. The sound it makes, that small whoosh, feels final. I whisper into the silence, not sure who I'm talking to. Maybe it's my turn to leave too. No one answers. The photo sits on the table, printed from the instant camera I used. I look at it closely. Mom's laughing. Dad's eyes closed mid-toast. Lila's grinning at something off-frame. The frame's perfect except for the empty space in the corner where I should be. I trace the edge of the picture with my thumb. The paper's warm from my hand. I slip it into my journal between grocery lists and old notes, proof that I existed in the room, even if they didn't see me. I unplug the string lights above the dining table. The room dims, and for the first time all night it feels honest. The silence presses in, not cruel, just truthful. When I head to my room, I pass by Lila's suitcase in the hall. Its tag dangles from the handle, Charles de Gaulle Airport. I run my fingers over the letters, tracing the word departure. It feels good, solid. Maybe I'll have one too. The camera still hangs from my neck, its strap digging into my shoulder. I take one last shot before turning out the lights. The empty table, the cake, the cooling wax, the soft outline of what could have been. The flash bursts, lighting everything in white again. For a brief second I vanish, and it feels like freedom. Morning arrives as if nothing happened. The light through my curtains feels uninvited, too bright, too early, too happy. Downstairs, the kitchen hums with the familiar sounds of my family's togetherness. Coffee brewing, suitcases rolling, the clink of cups. Lila's voice floating through the air like perfume. Did you tag me? Don't forget to tag me. I step out of my room, robe-tied hair still tangled from sleep. The scent of vanilla cake hits me stale now, a reminder that sweetness doesn't last. Mom's at the table scrolling through her phone, her reading glasses perched low. She doesn't look up. Morning, sweetheart, she says automatically. You slept in. Yeah, I answer. Long night. She hums. Oh, the party was lovely, wasn't it? Everyone said it felt so warm and special. I glance at the empty cake box on the counter. The pink icing from my name smudged across the cardboard, like evidence no one intends to examine. Yeah, I say again, but my voice doesn't sound like mine. Lila bursts in wearing her travel outfit, beige trench coat beret, tilted just right, suitcase wheels squeaking. She looks like she's already halfway to Paris. Mom, did you post the second picture? She asks, sliding into the chair beside her. Of course, Mom says, grinning. Everyone's loving it. I take my phone from the counter. My thumb finds the screen before my mind catches up. Notifications, 12 new likes. The caption, Family Love Before Paris, couldn't be prouder. I scroll down, searching for my name. It's not there. Not even tagged in the photo I took. Just faces theirs. Dad's comment. Bon voyage, sweetheart. Go make us proud. Aunt Rose left a simple heart. And then strangers. All of Mom's friends writing things like, You raised such a beautiful daughter. I keep scrolling until the edges of my vision blur. My thumb slows. Each word feels heavier. One comment stops me cold. Your other daughter took that photo right. Mom's reply. Yes, Maya's such a helper, always so dependable. I blink. Helper. That word again. My chest tightens. Not daughter, not sister, helper. It's strange the way pain can feel both sharp and numb, like pressing on a bruise you can't stop touching. Lila leans over. You liked the post, right? Yeah, I whisper. I did. She smiles, unaware of what she's just asked. She doesn't mean harm, that's the cruelest part. The world has always been tilted slightly in her favor, and she doesn't even feel the incline. The car honks outside, Dad loading luggage, Mom shouting last-minute reminders. I follow them to the door, watching the small flurry of goodbyes. Mom hugs Lila 3 times. Dad calls her champ. I hover behind them, invisible again, the camera still hanging around my neck like a leash. When the door closes, the silence feels theatrical, like the world paused for me to realize what I've been refusing to see. I pour myself coffee, but it tastes wrong. Everything does. I stare at the family photo magneted to the fridge last Christmas, all of us in matching sweaters. I remember setting up the tripod that day too. I was behind the camera then as well. Always behind it. I open my phone one more time. The post now has 300 likes. I scroll through numb until I spotted a photo of the cake from last night. Uncut. Unlit. Captioned. Didn't even get to eat this beauty. Lila's comment. Save me a slice. I stare until my eyes sting. The cake, my name smeared across it, has become their prop, their background, their joke. Something shifts inside me, small but seismic. A thought I've buried for years finally finds air. They wouldn't notice if I disappeared. The kettle clicks off behind me. I don't move. My hand tightens around the phone until it trembles. It's not anger I feel, not really. It's awareness, clean, simple, quiet. I put the phone down and look around the kitchen. It's filled with the ghosts of my usefulness: the coffee mug I washed for Dad, the cat food dish I refilled, the list of errands taped to the fridge. Each object whispers the same truth. I've built a life around being needed, not loved. The realization doesn't break me. It empties me. And in that emptiness, I finally have room for something new. Aunt Rose stops by later to pick up a casserole dish. She glances around the quiet house. They left already. Yeah, I say, keeping my tone light. Her eyes linger on my face. You okay? I nod. Always. She hesitates, then reaches into her purse and pulls out an old Polaroid camera. You used to love taking pictures with this. Remember, I take it surprised. The edges are worn, the surface scuffed, but it feels right in my hands. Keep it, she says softly. Take pictures you're in this time. I want to say something, thank you maybe, but the words stick in my throat. She pats my shoulder and leaves. The door clicks shut behind her. I look down at the camera thumb, tracing the metal edges. It smells faintly of old film and dust, like forgotten dreams. I lift it, aim at the empty table, and press the shutter. The flash bursts, bleaching the world white. For a heartbeat, I'm blinded again. When the photo develops, it's just the table, the half-eaten cake, a glass of champagne half full. And my reflection in the window, faint but visible this time. I pin it to the fridge with a magnet. Then I step back. There I am, right in the middle. For the first time, I'm in the frame. By the time the sun slides past the curtains, the house feels like an empty stage after a performance. Every sound echoes: the hum of the refrigerator, the slow tick of the wall clock, the faint creak of a chair when I move. The party decorations still hang in pieces, drooping ribbons, half-deflated balloons, one paper 30, curling at the corners. A confetti trail glitters faintly across the dining floor, leading nowhere. I sit at the table with a cup of coffee that's gone cold. The cake from last night sits untouched. The pink icing has hardened into a shell. I open the drawer where Mom keeps the envelopes, the ones she uses for special occasions. Inside are two. One marked Lila, in her bold handwriting, and another blank. The blank one feels heavier somehow. I already know what's inside Lila's. I saw Dad slip the bills into it yesterday, crisp new travel money for our Paris girl. Still, I open it. 500 euros. A printed note for your dreams. Love, Mom and Dad. I place it back carefully, as though I'm afraid of tearing the illusion. Then I open the blank envelope. Empty, of course. A ghost envelope. It makes me laugh. Not bitterly, not even sadly. Just softly, like a secret I finally get. That's when it hits me. This has always been the shape of our love. Conditional, performative, measured out in applause, attention, and timing. Lila gets the spotlight. I get the gratitude. She's adored for shining. I'm thanked for cleaning up after. I close the drawer and look around the house. It smells faintly of champagne and floor polish. A family museum. On the fridge, Aunt Rose's Polaroid still waits. The picture I took this morning, the table, the cake, my faint reflection in the window. I can't stop looking at it. There I am, faint but undeniable. It's not beauty, but it's proof. The phone buzzes, a text from Mom. Can you feed Mr. Whiskers while we're gone? There's food in the pantry. Also, don't forget to water the plants. Love you. I stare at the words for a long time. That love you feels automated, like it's been copy-pasted from a script she sends to both daughters. I type back, sure thing, have fun in Paris. Then I delete it. Then type again, sure, then delete it again. Finally, I put the phone down. I walk to the hallway where Lila's suitcase had stood last night. There's a faint rectangle of dust on the floor, the shape of where it had been. An imprint of departure. I trace it with my foot slowly. Then I go to my closet. My suitcase isn't fancy. It's the same one I used when I left for college, navy blue, one broken wheel, a faint scuff mark near the handle. It's honest. I unzip it, let the mouth of it gape open. It smells faintly of cedar and old fabric softener. Inside go the basics: jeans, a few blouses, toothbrush, journal, the Polaroid camera. Nothing else feels worth packing. Each folded item is a quiet rebellion. Each empty hanger left behind a small liberation. In the kitchen I find the candles again, still bundled together, unused. I light one. The wax drips instantly, running down its side like it's crying before I can. The small flame burns unsteady at first, then steadies itself. It's the most honest light in the house. I stare at it until the wax pools on the table, then blow it out. Smoke twists upward, curling like breath. I whisper to no one. Happy birthday, Maya. The words sound foreign, like they belong to someone I used to know. Later I open the fridge to grab something for dinner. The empty cake box catches my eye again. The spot beside it holds a leftover casserole wrapped in foil, one of Mom's. The handwriting on top says, "For Maya. Dinner while we're away." For a moment I almost laugh again. Because this is what care looks like here, organized, convenient, and personal. But I notice something else. Beneath the casserole dish, another envelope. No name. Same stationery. I pull it out slowly, fingers trembling, a sliver of hope I wish I didn't feel. Inside, a folded note. No money. Just words scrawled in Dad's handwriting. We're proud of you too. We just forget to say it sometimes. No signature. No love, Dad. Just that one half-hearted apology disguised as reassurance. I set it on the counter beside the melted candle and stare at both a note that says too little and a candle that burned too fast. For a long moment I don't move. The quiet presses on me from every side, like the house itself is watching. Then I fold the note once neatly and slide it back into the envelope. I tuck it inside my suitcase, not as a keepsake, but as proof of everything I've finally stopped waiting for. Outside, dusk settles. The neighborhood glows gold the way it always does at the hour when people gather for dinner. But tonight I don't set the table. I don't reheat leftovers. I don't answer Mom's second text. I unzip the suitcase wider, and the sound is crisp, deliberate, like punctuation at the end of a long silence. I place the Polaroid camera on top of my clothes gently, like it's something fragile and sacred. Then I reach for the half-eaten cake and cut one clean slice. Not for them. For me. The frosting cracks softly under the knife. I take a bite. It's dry, sweet, imperfect, but it tastes like truth. In the dim kitchen light, I catch my reflection again, faint, ghostly in the window. But now it's different. Because this time I'm looking back. And she, the woman in the glass, she's done waiting to be seen. The kitchen smells like sugar gone stale. Every corner carries the echo of last night laughter caught in the walls, clinking glasses now replaced by the soft hum of the refrigerator. It's strange how emptiness has its own sound when you finally listen to it. I've been standing at the sink for nearly an hour, rinsing dishes that are already clean. My hands prune in the warm water, but I keep scrubbing. It's easier to focus on plates than feelings. The water fogs up the window in front of me, blurring the outside world into shapes that don't ask questions. Behind me, a soft knock. Aunt Rose's voice, careful and low. "You didn't sleep, did you?" I don't turn around. You can tell. She steps closer, her reflection forming beside mine in the glass. "You've been washing the same plate since I came in." I look down. She's right. The plate's gleaming, spotless, almost reflective enough to show me the face I've been avoiding. I shut off the water and reach for a towel. "Just habit," I say. Rose leans against the counter, arms crossed. "You were always the one keeping things together." "But who keeps you together, Maya?" The question hangs there, soft but heavy. I dry my hands, slowly buying time. "Nobody has to." I answer. "It's fine." She tilts her head. "Fine." I force a smile. "Yeah, I'm fine." It's the family word for denial. The Ellis anthem. She opens the fridge, pulls out the casserole Mom left me, and sets it on the counter. "She made your favorite," she says, almost apologetically. I know. I glance at the foil-covered dish. She's good at feeding me, not at seeing me. Rose exhales. "You know I left home once, too." I look up. "You did?" She nods, a faint smile playing at her lips. "I was 22. Your mom forgot my birthday. Spent it helping her boyfriend study for an exam. I packed my bag that same night. Did she ever notice eventually?" Rose's voice softens. "But not before I learned that noticing and caring aren't the same thing." I nod, understanding more than I want to admit. The silence that follows isn't awkward, it's familiar, a language we've both learned to speak fluently. Outside, the sun fades into a bruised orange. The house feels heavier in twilight, every shadow shaped like memory. Rose takes a seat at the table, tracing a finger around the rim of a glass. "Where will you go?" I open my mouth to deny it, but the words slip out instead. "Somewhere they can't find me by habit." She studies me for a moment, eyes soft. "You already know, don't you?" I nod. "Yeah, I think I do." She reaches into her purse, pulls out a folded slip of paper, and slides it across the table. "A friend of mine rents a small apartment in Savannah. Quiet, safe. You'd like it there." I don't touch the paper, just stare at it, a key to a life I haven't admitted I want. "Why are you helping me?" I ask. "Because someone should have helped me," she says simply. The kettle whistles, a small burst of steam between us. I pour water into 2 mugs, the kind of mundane act that once made me feel useful. Now it just feels like routine, pretending to be comfort. We drink in silence. The warmth in my hands is fleeting, like everything else here. Rose sets her mug down first. "You don't have to make a scene," she says. "Just slip away. Sometimes the quiet exits are the loudest." I nod. "That's the plan." She stands, smoothing her sweater. "I'll tell them you're fine. I won't tell them where." Her trust feels like a gift I didn't know I needed. "Thank you," I whisper. "Don't thank me yet," she says, heading toward the door. "Find something worth being seen for." The door clicks shut behind her. The sound is small, but it ripples through me like a change in pressure. I'm alone again. The dishes gleam on the counter. The casserole sits untouched. On the fridge, my Polaroid of the empty table waits a frozen moment of absence. I pull the photo down and hold it up to the light. The faint reflection of my face still hovers there. For a second, I imagine the version of me who stays. She keeps the house clean, answers Mom's texts, feeds the cat, waits for the next birthday that no one celebrates. Then I imagine the version who leaves. She takes the picture with her, not as proof of pain, but as proof of decision. I fold the Polaroid in half gently, like closing a chapter. Then I slip it into the side pocket of my suitcase. The night hums quietly refrigerator clock, my heartbeat syncing with both. I rinse the mug dry, place it upside down on the rack. It's a ritual of ending. The air smells faintly of candle wax and dish soap. Clean. Hollow. Before heading to my room, I turn off the kitchen light. The window glass glows faintly from the street lamp outside. My reflection hovers there one last time, faint but present. Goodbye, I whisper to me, to the version that stayed too long. And in that reflection, she nods back. The house feels different in the morning light. Still the same walls, the same quiet, but it's as if the air itself has learned to whisper back. There's a layer of stillness I didn't hear before, one that hums beneath the clock behind the refrigerator under my skin. I sit at the kitchen table with a bowl of cereal gone soggy, scrolling through my phone, as if habit can trick me into belonging. Lila's Paris updates start early. Day 1. Bonjour from the city of dreams. Her smile fills the frame. Eiffel Tower blurred behind her. Another post follows. She made it from mom. Then dad's our girl abroad. So proud. I can't decide what's worse, that they forgot me, or that they remembered everything else so perfectly. The spoon clinks against the bowl, metal against porcelain. I scroll again, even though each flick of my thumb feels like salt on something still raw. There's a video this time, mom filming Lila at the airport. Say something in French, she laughs. Lila tosses her hair and says merci, and they all giggle like it's the cleverest thing in the world. In the background, I can hear my own voice faintly, the one who recorded the moment before they left. Smile for me, I'd said. It's strange hearing my voice without my presence, like a ghost cameo in someone else's life. I push the phone away and focus on the table. There's a single candle stub still standing in its holder, hardened wax puddled beneath it. The birthday candle that never burned for me. I think about lighting it again just to see how long it lasts this time. Instead, I blow gently across the wick, watching the dust scatter from its tip. It feels symbolic, something extinguished long before it ever caught fire. Mom's text buzzes through. Morning. Don't forget to feed Mr. Whiskers, he gets cranky if you're late. Love you, I type. Got it. Then delete it. Then lock the screen. It's almost funny how even absence has its routine. I feed the cat anyway. He whines around my ankles like forgiveness, easy, unquestioning, hungry for nothing but attention. I pour his food into the bowl, and he eats without ceremony, without judgment. You never forget me, huh? I whisper. He purrs, unbothered. Maybe that's why I like animals more than people. They notice you by instinct, not by occasion. The house begins to stretch and yawn into emptiness again. I find myself cleaning, wiping the counters, organizing mail, folding towels. It's what I've always done, fix, polish, maintain. Because movement feels like proof of purpose. But when I'm done, everything gleams, and still, nothing changes. The clean surfaces only make the silence louder. I pour another cup of coffee and wander to the living room. The family portraits line the walls like museum exhibits. Smiling faces, perfect lighting, symmetrical happiness. Every frame is a story that doesn't include me. My reflection stares back from the glass, a faint shape outside the border. The invisible curator of their joy. I stop at one photo from Lila's high school graduation. Everyone's there, grandparents, cousins, the whole Ellis chorus. I'd taken that one too. Behind the camera again, wearing that same practiced smile. I press my thumb against the frame's edge. You really made sure I stayed out of focus, didn't you? The whisper surprises me. It's not angry, it's tired. I think of what Aunt Rose said last night. Sometimes the quiet exits are the loudest. Maybe it's time to make mine. I open my laptop search flights. My heart pounds harder than I expect. Savannah one way. It's not Paris. There's no romance in it. No postcards. But maybe peace doesn't need to be scenic. I don't hit book yet. Just leave the window open, the cursor blinking like a heartbeat waiting for courage. The kettle whistles sharp and sudden, jolting me back into the room. I pour hot water into my mug, splash of milk, 1 sugar. Routine again, the invisible rhythm of my life. Then I glance at the fridge. The Polaroid photo is still pinned there. The one I took, empty table, flickering light, faint ghost of me reflected in the window. I take it down, hold it at eye level. In daylight, the reflection is clearer. I can see my outline perfectly now between the cake and the candle. A quiet witness to my own vanishing. Maybe that's why I kept taking pictures all these years, because the only proof I ever had that I existed came from the things I framed. The clock hits noon. I realize I've been sitting here for hours. I glance at my suitcase half packed from last night. It waits in the hallway, quiet and patient, like it knows what I haven't said aloud. I pull out my phone again, hover over the book flight button. Mom's latest text pops up. Could you clean the porch this week too? The leaves are piling up. Thanks, sweetheart. Something in me clicks shut. Not anger, not sadness, finality. I look back at the Polaroid in my hand. The faint reflection of my face stares back, half smiling, half sure. Then I hit book. The confirmation screen glows against my palm. Tomorrow morning, 8:25 a.m., one way. I set the phone down, exhale slowly. The air feels thinner, lighter somehow. In the corner of my eye, the cat jumps onto the chair, curling into a small, satisfied ball. For the first time in years, I envy his peace, unburdened, unquestioned, unobserved. I stroke his fur gently. You'll be okay, buddy. He purrs, eyes half closed. The sound vibrates like approval. I glance once more at the fridge, at the empty spot where the photo had been. I slip it into my pocket. Tomorrow that wall will look a little emptier. Maybe then they'll finally notice what was missing all along. Night creeps back into the house like a tide. The clock ticks louder when you're trying to stay quiet, I've learned. Every second sounds like it's daring me not to move. I stand in the middle of the living room, suitcase open on the couch. My clothes are already folded inside jeans, sweaters, the old cardigan that smells faintly of vanilla and detergent. I add my journal, then the Polaroid camera wrapped in a scarf so it won't rattle. When I zip the suitcase halfway, the sound feels too sharp in the silence. I stop listening. No footsteps, no voices, just the hum of the refrigerator and the dull rhythm of my heart. It feels like the house itself is holding its breath. I walk into the kitchen. The cake still sits on the counter, covered with plastic wrap. It looks smaller than before, like it's been shrinking every hour since they left. The icing along the edge has cracked, the pink letters fading where condensation gathered. Happy 30th, Maya. The words are still there, but they feel like an afterthought. I take the cover off. The faint smell of sugar hits me again. It's sweet but also tired, like a memory that's overstayed its welcome. I pull up a chair and sit. My hands rest on the table, palms open, as if waiting for something, maybe an apology that will never come. The phone buzzes on the counter. Another text. Did you get the chance to clean the porch? Love, Mom. No question mark. Just assumption. She doesn't know I've already cleaned everything. Or maybe she does and just needs something to ask. I stare at the message until the screen fades. Then I place the phone face down. For the first time, I don't feel obligated to answer. The cat pads into the room and jumps onto the chair beside me. He eyes the suitcase, then the cake, as if confused by the contrast between endings and leftovers. I scratch behind his ear. You'll get someone better at feeding you, I whisper. He purrs softly, indifferent, and curls up against my leg. I wish I could stay that simple. I light one candle on the cake. Just one. The flame flickers wildly at first, then steadies, small but sure. The room glows warm, and for a fleeting moment, I imagine it's what my birthday should have felt like, light laughter, someone singing softly. But there's only the refrigerator hum and the whisper of the flame. I close my eyes. The memories come in flashes. Lila blowing out candles while everyone cheers. Mom hugging her tight. Dad saying, "You deserve the world." Me behind the camera, always behind it. When I open my eyes, the flame wavers as if it's tired too. I whisper, "You can rest now," and blow it out. The smoke rises, curling toward the ceiling, fading into nothing. That's when I know. It's time. I slide the suitcase closer, zipping it all the way this time. The sound slices clean through the silence. Final. Real. The suitcase stands beside the cake, the two objects forming an odd symmetry. One, a celebration that never happened. The other, a promise that finally will. I take out my wallet, leave a note on the counter. Cat food's in the pantry. Don't worry about me. No signature. No explanation. The kind of note that means everything and nothing. Then I take a deep breath and look around. The house feels both enormous and small. Every corner holds a version of me, laughing, apologizing, waiting. I can almost see her in the shadows, the woman who stayed quiet so love wouldn't leave. I whisper to her, "You can rest now too." I wheel the suitcase to the door. The cat follows, silent and curious. When I open the door, cool air rushes in, fresh, unfamiliar, honest. It smells like rain and possibility. The porch creaks under my feet. I pause, looking back one last time. The kitchen light glows soft and golden. From here I can see the cake still sitting on the table, the candle's thin trail of smoke fading upward. It almost looks like a soul leaving a body. I step outside and close the door gently behind me. The click of the lock sounds like punctuation. The street is quiet. My car waits at the curb, dew glistening on the windshield. I lift the suitcase into the trunk, the weight grounding me. For a second, I lean against the car, staring up at the sky. The stars are faint, half hidden by cloud, but they're there, constant and distant and free. I whisper, "Happy birthday, Maya," again. This time it doesn't ache. It feels like a benediction. Before getting in, I take out my phone and open the camera. I turn it to selfie mode and raise it toward the house. In the frame, the dark outline of the home I've kept alive for years, the faint glow of the kitchen window, the quiet promise of my own silhouette. I press capture. The photo blinks white, freezing that moment goodbye disguised as light. Then I slide the phone into my pocket, start the car, and pull away. As I drive off, I glance in the rearview mirror. Through the distance, the kitchen light shrinks into a single dot, like a candle still burning. For a second, it almost looks like it's for me. It's still dark when I wake. The clock on my nightstand glows 4:12 a.m. that hour, when the world feels suspended between yesterday and whatever comes next. The suitcase sits upright near the door, zipped and waiting. My shoes are already lined beside it, the laces looped neatly, like I'm afraid of leaving anything undone. I get dressed without turning on the lights. The fabric of my sweater feels rough against my skin, grounding. I slip my journal into my coat pocket, check for my phone, my ID, my boarding pass. Everything fits inside the small bag I sling across my chest, light enough to carry, but heavy enough to mean something. Before leaving my room, I pause. The walls here have listened to so much silence. They've held my thoughts, my small joys, my swallowed anger. There's a faint dent on the wall from the time I tried to hang a picture that never stayed straight. I run my hand over it. "Goodbye," I whisper. Not because I expect it to answer, but because it deserves to be acknowledged. The hallway creaks under my steps. The air smells of dust and faint perfume, a ghost of family dinners and forgotten birthdays. I walk past Lila's room door, slightly open bed, perfectly made. The suitcase-shaped dent on the floor is still visible, her absence leaving a cleaner imprint than mine ever will. At the end of the hall, the framed photographs line the wall like witnesses. Their smiles follow me. The most recent one, last night's print, hangs crooked, slightly tilted. I fix it automatically the way I've always fixed things here. Then I stop halfway. Let it hang wrong. Maybe it's better that way. Honest. The last photo on the wall is my favorite Christmas 5 years ago. Everyone in red sweaters, mom mid-laugh, dad with his arm around Lila. The corner of the frame catches a glint from the hallway light, and for a second it blinds me. When my eyes adjust, I see it clearly, the reflection of me faint and ghosted in the glass. Not in the photo, but hovering just outside of it. Always outside. I lift it off the wall, trace the edge with my thumb, then set it face down on the console table. There. Now no one's smiling. In the kitchen, the smell of old sugar and cold coffee greets me again. The cake remains hardened and dull under its plastic wrap. The candle stub leans sideways, wax dried mid-drip. I touch the table lightly. "You can rest now," I murmur. The cat jumps onto the counter, his eyes catching the glow from the streetlight outside. He meows once, soft and questioning. I scratch behind his ear. "You'll be fine." He blinks at me like he already knows. I take the note from the counter, the one I left for them, and slip it under the fruit bowl. Not hidden, not displayed. Just there the way I always was. When I open the front door, the air outside bites colder than expected. It smells like rain and earth, like something unmade. The porch light flickers once, then steadies. My breath forms a thin white cloud. I grip the suitcase handle, roll it down the steps, one thud at a time. Each sound feels like punctuation marking the end of a sentence too long to reread. The street is empty. The world hasn't started yet. For the first time in years, that feels like an invitation. I slide into the driver's seat, start the engine. The headlights cut through the fog, revealing the outlines of familiar houses, the ones that held other people's stories, laughter spilling out at dinner time. Windows glowing like tiny suns. Mine stays dark behind me. At the first red light, I glance into the rearview mirror. The house is barely visible now, a faint shape at the end of the street. The kitchen window still glows. For a fleeting second, I imagine Mom standing there, realizing I'm gone. But the image fades quickly. She's probably still asleep, dreaming of Paris and her golden daughter. I exhale, slow and steady. My fingers tighten around the steering wheel. I don't look back again. Halfway down the highway, dawn begins to break. The sky turns from black to bruised purple to pale gray. The horizon stretches open like a wound that's finally learning to heal. I drive with the window cracked just enough for the wind to thread through my hair. The air smells of asphalt and morning dew. Each passing mile feels like it's scrubbing something old off my skin. At a stoplight near the outskirts of town, I pull over. The world here is quiet. No cars, no houses, just the hum of distance. I take out the Polaroid camera from my bag. I aim it toward the horizon where the sun's first line of light cuts through the fog. I press the shutter. The photo whirs softly as it develops, the colors slowly surfacing. When it's done, I hold it in both hands. No family, no house, no shadow of anyone else. Just the road, the sky, and a small figure walking forward me. I tuck the photo into my coat pocket right over my heart. When I reach the airport, the parking lot is nearly empty. Inside, the fluorescent lights hum overhead, too bright, too sterile. But even here, I feel lighter. I roll my suitcase toward the check-in counter. The wheels squeak a little, a familiar comforting sound. The attendant looks up, half asleep, her voice flat. "Checking any bags?" "No," I say. "Just this one." She prints my ticket, slides it across. Destination. I glance at the text on the screen. Savannah Gate 12. Home. I answer, even though it's nowhere I've ever been. As I walk toward security, the announcement board behind me flickers. Flight 10:45, on time. The words glow, steady, certain. I pass a family taking selfies in the terminal, mother, father, daughter in a beret. They're laughing. For a moment it almost mirrors last night. But this time I'm not behind the lens. I'm walking past, unseen and unbothered. When I reach the gate, I sit by the window. Outside, the first plane of the morning rises into the sky, its wings slicing through the dawn. The reflection of the glass catches my face, soft, calm, centered. I smile. It's not for anyone else, just me. By noon, the house has settled into its routine hum, the refrigerator purring, the ceiling fan clicking, sunlight spilling across the kitchen floor in a golden square. Everything looks the same. Everything feels wrong. Diane Ellis doesn't notice it at first. She moves through the morning, half distracted, half busy. her thoughts scattered somewhere over the Atlantic where her younger daughter now flies. She wipes the counter hums under her breath, glances at the half-eaten cake still sitting under its plastic dome. She means to throw it out. She doesn't. When she picks up her phone to text Maya to remind her about the porch again, she sees the unread messages. 3 of them. Her first from the night before. Did you eat dinner? Then this morning, feed the cat. And one she doesn't remember sending at all. Love you, sweetheart. All of them show delivered but not read. That tiny space between the 2 words tightens something in her chest. At 12:10, Aunt Rose knocks on the door. Diane opens it, surprised. You're back. Rose's expression is careful, soft. Forgot my casserole dish. Of course. Diane forces a smile, stepping aside. Come in. The house smells faintly of wax and stale frosting. Rose's eyes flicker toward the kitchen. Still got that cake? Haven't had time, Diane says. I'll toss it tonight. Rose nods, glancing toward the counter. The suitcase-shaped patch of dust on the living room rug catches her eye. It wasn't there yesterday. Where's Maya? She asks, though she already knows. Diane frowns, drying her hands with a towel. Probably upstairs or out for groceries. She's always running errands. Her car's gone, Rose says. Diane blinks. She probably went for gas. Since 6 this morning. Something in Rose's voice makes the air shift. Diane's towel slips from her fingers. You checked the time, Rose gestures toward her watch. I stopped by to drop the keys for the shed around 7. House was dark. No car. Diane opens her mouth, closes it again. The sound of the ticking clock fills the silence between them. They search first out of politeness, a quiet kind of denial disguised as concern. Diane checks the laundry room, the garage, the backyard, calling her daughter's name, as if she might just be behind a door listening. Maya, Maya, honey. The house gives no reply. When she passes by the kitchen table, she notices something she didn't before: the folded envelope tucked under the fruit bowl. She pulls it out. Inside, one line in Maya's handwriting: cat food's in the pantry. Don't worry about me. The towel on the counter, the untouched cake, the faint smell of candle smoke, they all conspire to make the truth unbearable. Rose watches her sister's face tighten, eyes glassy. She's gone die. Diane shakes her head. Don't be ridiculous. She'd never just... Her voice cracks before she finishes. She would, Rose says softly. If she finally believed you'd never notice. They sit at the table together. The refrigerator hums louder, like it's mocking them. Diane stares at the Polaroid pinned to the fridge door, the one Maya took. The empty table, the half-melted candle, the faint reflection of her daughter in the window. It hits her slowly, like watching a photograph develop. That reflection was Maya's goodbye. Meanwhile, across the ocean, Lila posts another photo, her smiling face framed by the Seine, a croissant in one hand, sunglasses reflecting a blue sky. The caption reads, Living the Dream, Paris Day, 1. Diane's phone buzzes with notifications. For a moment she feels proud again, the automatic kind of pride she's rehearsed for years. Then beneath the new messages she sees an older one. Your other daughter took that photo, right? The comment she laughed off yesterday now lands differently. She scrolls through the family chat. Only Lila's updates. Only her pictures. Maya's last message, sent 3 days ago, reads, Need me to pick up candles for the cake? Diane reads it 3 times before the meaning settles in. Candles for a cake, no one lit. Her chest tightens. Oh my God, she whispers. Rose looks at her gently. You see it now? Diane nods. She didn't forget. We did. The cat meows from the counter, nudging the empty bowl. Diane pours food, automatically tears, pricking at the edges of her eyes. She didn't even take the casserole, she says, as if that detail matters. Rose stands, puts a hand on her shoulder. Give her time. Time. Diane laughs softly, the brittle breaking kind. She gave us 30 years. That night the house stays lit longer than usual. Diane sits in the kitchen with her husband, who's still insisting Maya just needed space. She doesn't argue. She just nods. When he goes to bed, she stays. The candle stub is still on the counter. She lights it. The small flame trembles unsteady. "Happy birthday, sweetheart," she whispers into the air. The words sound foreign, like a prayer said too late. The wax drips pooling into a circle that looks like a tear. From the corner of the room, Aunt Rose's voice comes softly like a confession. "She'll be okay. She learned it from us how to survive silence." Diane nods, though she doesn't look up. For the first time, she lets herself cry. Not loud, just enough to feel it. The candle burns low. The flame falters. Then it goes out. By the next morning, the story of Lila's trip begins to dissolve under its own shine. What started as a steady stream of Paris updates, filtered coffee cups, glittering streets, carousel rides, begins to draw comments that don't match the tone of her captions. "Didn't your sister have a birthday the same night? Where's Maya in the photos? Wait, wasn't that her cake?" Lila scrolls through them while sitting in a cafe in the 6th arrondissement, croissant crumbs scattered across the table, sunlight flashing off her phone screen. The words twist in her stomach, unfamiliar and ugly. She rereads one in particular. "You can't celebrate Paris on your sister's birthday and call it family love." She tries to laugh it off the way she always does. People on the internet are dramatic. But the laughter never comes. Back home, Diane watches the same posts unfold from her phone at the kitchen table. Each comment feels like a public confession of something she's tried to deny for years. She scrolls back to the night of the party, to the photo she uploaded with the caption, "Family Love Before Paris." It has nearly 600 likes. It also has over 100 comments now, many of them asking questions she doesn't want to read. Who's behind the camera? Doesn't Maya turn 30 this week? Why does she always take the photos and never appear in them? Her thumb trembles over the delete button, but deleting it feels cowardly. Leaving it up feels worse. At that moment, Lila calls from Paris. The connection is clear. Diane can hear the street noise, the lilt of her daughter's excitement tangled with a thread of confusion. "Mom, Lila says people are being weird online, like they're accusing me of forgetting Maya's birthday or something." Diane presses the heel of her hand against her forehead. "Did you—" There's a pause, long enough for both of them to feel it. "I thought we were celebrating her too," Lila says softly. "We had the cake, but we didn't light it," Diane says. The silence stretches. Lila's breath catches on the other end. "Is she okay?" "I don't know," Diane admits. It's the truest thing she's said in years. In Paris, Lila leaves the cafe and wanders aimlessly down Rue de Rennes. The street is alive, vendors shouting, traffic honking, the air thick with roasting chestnuts, and the distant murmur of accordion music. But none of it feels real. She opens her messages. The last text from Maya stares back at her. "Want me to take the group photo?" There's no follow-up, no emoji, no goodnight, just that one simple offering. Her throat tightens. She types a new message, fingers shaking. "I'm sorry. I should have said happy birthday." She stares at it for a long time, then presses send. The message goes through instantly. No response. She types another. "Are you mad at me?" Then another. "Please text me back." None of them turn blue. She presses call. It rings once, twice, then straight to voicemail. "Maya, it's me. I didn't mean to forget. I swear I didn't. Please call me back." Her voice trembles near the end. When she hangs up, her reflection stares back from the black screen, the same face that filled every photo, suddenly unfamiliar. Back in the Ellis kitchen, Diane sits at the table with Rose the Polaroid spread between them. The faint outline of Maya's reflection has begun to fade, the photo's surface curling at the edges. "Do you think she'll ever come back?" Diane asks. Rose sighs. "Would you if you were her?" Diane doesn't answer. She runs her thumb over the image as if pressing down could bring her daughter back into focus. Across an ocean and a dozen time zones, Lila's apology post goes up later that day. A single photo of the untouched cake captioned for Maya. "I should have lit the candles." The comments pour in. At least she realized. Too late always comes eventually. Sometimes the quiet ones are the loudest losses. The post trends within hours, carried by empathy and outrage, and the strange intimacy of shared guilt. Diane watches it all unfold on her phone, the glow of the screen casting her face in blue light. Her husband sits in the next room, the TV murmuring low, oblivious. She scrolls until she reaches the end of the thread. Someone has uploaded an old photo, Maya as a teenager, camera in hand, smiling shyly behind it. The caption under that repost reads, "She was always the one taking the pictures." For the first time, Diane feels the weight of all those missing photos, the invisible years where her eldest daughter existed just outside the frame. She closes her phone, the sound sharp in the quiet room. In Paris, Lila sits by the hotel window, staring at the city lights scattered across the river. She refreshes her messages again, still nothing. On her nightstand, the pastry she ordered earlier has gone untouched. She breaks it in half absent-mindedly, and the flakes scatter across the plate like soft ashes. "Happy birthday, Maya," she whispers into the glass, the city's reflection folding around her face. The lights blur. For the first time in her life, she doesn't take a picture. The motel room smells like rain and laundry detergent. A faded curtain flutters near the open window, letting in the hum of passing cars. I've been sitting here for hours watching the ceiling fan turn its slow rhythm hypnotic. It's strange how quiet freedom sounds at first, like a new house before the furniture arrives. My phone sits face down on the nightstand. I know it's been buzzing. I can feel the small vibrations spaced out like guilt. I don't need to look to know who it is. Eventually I do. 9 missed calls, 3 voicemails, all from home. The first message is Mom, her voice too bright, pretending she's not worried. "Hey sweetheart, just checking in. Did you get my text? Call me when you can." The second one sounds tighter, thinner. "Maya, your sister posted something, people online are being weird. Just let me know you're okay." Then the third. "We didn't mean to forget, honey. You know how things get, right? It's just, we thought you didn't mind." A pause. A breath that cracks. "Please come home." I listen to them all twice. Each word folds in on itself until it's just noise, the kind that sounds like apology if you squint hard enough. When the final message ends, I stare at the wall for a long time. The motel wallpaper is patterned with faded flowers, pale blue against beige. It reminds me of the wallpaper in our old dining room, the one I used to trace with my finger as a kid when no one was talking to me. Some things never change. I step outside for air. The sky has started to clear after the morning rain, leaving the asphalt slick and shining. The world feels rinsed. Clean, maybe. Across the parking lot, a neon sign hums faintly, "Vacancy." Its red glow paints everything in soft, uneasy light. I breathe in the smell of wet pavement and cheap coffee from the lobby. My suitcase leans against the doorframe, half unzipped. I sit beside it, legs crossed, camera in my lap. The Polaroid from the road rests on the seat next to me. The horizon captured in it looks endless. I trace the edges of the photo with my thumb. For the first time, I don't feel invisible in the image. I'm small, yes, but present. That's all I ever wanted to be. The phone buzzes again. I almost ignore it. But then I think maybe closure isn't about answers. Maybe it's about finishing the echo before it fades. I pick up. It's another voicemail, Mom again. "Maya, I just lit one of the candles from your cake. It's still burning. I wanted you to know that. I'm sorry we didn't see you. I'm sorry we made you smaller in your own story. Wherever you are, I hope you're eating something sweet." Her voice cracks on that last word. Then silence. Then the sound of her trying not to cry. The message ends. For a long time I sit there, phone in hand, screen dimming slowly until it goes black. My reflection stares back at me, soft, colorless, almost transparent. I whisper, "You can stop waiting now." It's not to her. It's to the version of me who stayed behind, still sitting at that kitchen table. I delete all the voicemails one by one, not out of anger, out of mercy, for both of us. Inside, I make tea from the motel's dusty kettle. The water smells faintly of metal, but the warmth feels like company. I sit on the edge of the bed, sipping slowly, the cup balanced in my palms. The television plays low, a travel commercial, soft music, a couple walking along a beach somewhere. I smile. There's a cruel poetry in it. My eyes drift to the mirror across from the bed. The reflection of the window catches the faint glow of a streetlight outside. For a second, it looks like the candle Mom said she lit. I raise my cup in a small, quiet toast. "Happy birthday, Mom," I whisper. It's not hers, but maybe she needs the wish more than I do. The cat's empty food dish flashes in my memory. The sound of Rose's voice, the flick of the candle, the click of the suitcase. All those moments loop inside me like a soft refrain. I was there. I was there. I was there. I pull the journal from my bag and open it to a blank page. I write the date. Then beneath it, first night, without waiting for permission to exist. I close it. The paper crinkles under my palm, still warm from my touch. Before turning in, I set the Polaroid camera on the nightstand. The lens catches the light from the street outside, a faint glimmer, like an eye that never stops seeing. I think of the messages I deleted, the ones that said, "Please come home." But this room feels more like home than that house ever did. I climb into bed, pull the blanket over me, and listen to the fan's slow hum. My heartbeat evens out to match it. The last thing I see before sleep takes me is the reflection of the neon sign on the ceiling, vacancy, glowing faintly red. It doesn't feel like emptiness anymore. It feels like space. Morning again. The kind of quiet morning that feels like a reset button. No buzzing phones, no obligations, no voices calling from downstairs. Just light, the soft hiss of distant rain, and the pulse of my own breathing. I wake to the scent of coffee from the motel lobby downstairs. The thin motel blanket still tangled around my legs. I lie there for a moment, tracing patterns on the ceiling with my eyes. For the first time in years, I don't feel like I have to get up quickly. When I finally move, it's not out of duty, it's out of curiosity. My suitcase sits by the door, half unzipped. I pull it closer, dig past clothes and books, until I find the small Polaroid camera. The metal's cool against my skin. It feels heavier today, not with guilt, but with possibility. There's still one photo left in the cartridge. I've been saving it, though I didn't know what for. I open the curtains. The light outside is soft, filtered through clouds. The world looks freshly washed, edges blurred with mist. The parking lot gleams, silver puddles reflecting the sky like broken mirrors. I catch my reflection in the window, hair, messy sweatshirt, wrinkled eyes, tired but awake. For once, I don't look away. I lift the camera and point it at the glass. The click of the shutter startles me, a flash of white, then the familiar whir of the film rolling out. The photo develops slowly on the dresser, the image ghosting into focus. The pale morning light, the faint outline of me framed by the rain-streaked glass. It's imperfect, too much backlight, too little color. But I can see myself. That's enough. I set it beside the old Polaroid of the empty kitchen table. Side by side, they tell the story, the girl who waited to be seen, and the woman who finally turned the camera around. A small laugh escapes me. It's quiet, shaky, but real. I make tea, pour it into a paper cup, and sit by the window with both photos spread in front of me. The scent of rain mixes with steam. I imagine Mom at home, maybe standing by the same kitchen window where I used to stand still, half waiting for a message that won't come. I don't hate her. I thought I would, but I don't. There's no room left in me for that. Anger takes space, and I've learned to love the emptiness instead. The motel clerk knocks once, leaves the receipt under the door. My checkout time's in an hour. I glance at the clock, then at the sky. The rain's easing up. The road calls in that soft, invisible way freedom does. I pack carefully this time, each motion deliberate. The camera goes on top. The old Polaroid, the one of the cake and empty chair. I fold it once, not to hide it, but to mark that it belongs to the past. It slides into my journal between pages filled with small notes, fragments of self I didn't know I'd been collecting. When I zip the bag, it doesn't sound like an ending anymore. It sounds like rhythm, like breath. Before leaving, I take one last look around the room. The bed still half made, the tea steam rising in the air, the mirror over the sink catching the reflection of my suitcase as I lift it. I walk over to it. The mirror's spotted, imperfect but honest. I meet my own eyes and stay there longer than I ever have. Hello, I say quietly. It feels strange saying it out loud, as if meeting myself for the first time. Hello, I repeat. This time I smile. I stop by a thrift store on the edge of town before getting on the highway. The bell above the door jingles softly. The shop smells of paperbacks and lavender. I wander through aisles of secondhand lamps and chipped ceramics until something catches my eye. A small photo frame, ornate but worn. The glass inside is cracked at the corner. I pick it up anyway. At the counter, the clerk, an older woman with silver hair tied in a bun, smiles. For someone special? For me, I answer. She nods approving. Good answer. Outside, I slide the new Polaroid into the frame. My reflection in the rain-lit window blurred but visible. My face finally in the center. It feels right, like an anchor. Back in the car, I set the frame on the passenger seat. The road stretches ahead, a gray ribbon disappearing into mist. I don't know exactly where I'm going yet. Maybe Savannah. Maybe somewhere else. It doesn't matter. The photo sits steady beside me, a small witness to this new version of myself. At a red light, I catch my reflection in the rearview mirror. For once, I don't think about who's behind the camera. I think about what comes next. I whisper, "Let's go." The light turns green. I drive. And in the empty seat beside me, my photo catches the first hint of sunlight breaking through the clouds. It takes 3 days to reach Savannah. I don't rush. I stop when I want to. I eat when I'm hungry. I sleep when I'm tired. There's a rhythm to being alone that I never learned before, a quiet, almost musical kind of control. When I arrive, the city greets me with soft humidity and the smell of salt from the nearby marshes. My new apartment is small, one room with a kitchen that hums when the fridge turns on, a single window facing east, and pale yellow walls that catch the morning light like it's something holy. The landlord, a man named Harold with kind eyes, hands me the keys and says, "It's quiet here. You'll like that." I smile. That's exactly what I want. When he leaves, I stand in the center of the room, suitcase still closed, just listening. The air feels unbothered. No footsteps above me. No muffled voices behind doors. No questions. Just stillness. I unpack slowly, not because I have much, just because I can. Jeans in the drawer, camera on the shelf, journal on the nightstand. And then, from between its pages, I slide out the folded Polaroid of the empty kitchen table. I smooth it flat on the counter. The edges are soft from handling. The reflection of me in the window, that ghostly trace, still lingers faintly in the image. But it's fading. I like that. Something should. That afternoon, I hang the new photo, the one from the motel, in the small frame I bought at the thrift store. It goes on the wall just above the tiny table I've claimed as a dining spot. There's no other decoration yet, just that single picture. It looks like nothing, I suppose, to anyone else, an overexposed image of a woman in rainlight. But to me, it's everything. A statement. A proof. The wall feels less empty now. So do I. I sit beneath it with a cup of coffee and a slice of store-bought cake I picked up on the way in. Chocolate. Too sweet. Perfect. There's no one here to sing. No candles. No applause. Just the sound of the spoon against the plate and the faint echo of laughter from the street below. For once, it doesn't sting. Evenings are soft here. The light turns amber before slipping quietly into blue. I keep the window open, listening to the low hum of cicadas and the distant call of trains. The world feels wider when no one's watching you. Sometimes I imagine them back home. Mom probably checks her phone too often. Dad probably says she's overreacting. Lila somewhere in Paris probably rehearses her apology over and over, unsure if she'll ever send it again. I don't resent them. I used to think forgiveness had to be declared something you hand over like a receipt. But maybe forgiveness is just moving on without bitterness, letting them stay frozen where they are while you keep walking. So I do. At night, I light a small candle on the counter, not out of tradition, but to remind myself I can. The flame flickers against the glass of the window, and for a moment it feels like the world outside is holding its breath with me. I take out my Polaroid camera. One more photo. The candlelight spilling across the walls, the coffee cup, the small framed picture above the table. I press the shutter. The flash fills the room. When the photo develops, I see it. The glow, the empty chair, the light stretching over everything I've claimed. It's quiet but full. I pin it next to the first photo on the wall. Now there are two. My wall of small truths. Days pass easily. I start working remotely again, editing articles for travel blogs, answering emails from people who assume I live a busy, interesting life. It feels strange how ordinary peace can look on paper. I start taking walks along the river in the evenings. I buy flowers from the same vendor each week, always lilies. I think Mom would like that. I never send her a picture, but I keep one of the petals pressed inside my journal. There's something freeing about being unaccounted for. Nobody's schedule to orbit around. Nobody's disappointment to manage. The world doesn't demand a smile from me here. It lets me choose one. Tonight, as the sun dips low, I sit cross-legged on the floor beneath my two photos. The air smells faintly of coffee and sea salt. I sip from my mug and whisper, "You made it not to anyone else but to myself." I don't know what comes next. Maybe more photos. Maybe more silence. But for now, it's enough that this space feels like mine. On the wall, the two images glow in the golden hour light, proof that I was here, that I chose to see myself, that I built something out of absence. The candle's flame trembles, then steadies. I breathe out slowly, smiling. The sound of my own stillness feels like music. Morning light spills through the curtains again, golden and calm. I wake without an alarm. The air feels soft here, the kind that settles gently on your shoulders instead of pressing down. For a moment, I just lie still, listening. The hum of the fridge, the faint sound of gulls near the water, the rustle of leaves against the window. Quiet. The kind of quiet that's not lonely anymore, just mine. I make coffee, pour it into the same chipped mug I found at the thrift store my first week here. The word "breathe" is printed on its side, the paint half faded. I smile every time I see it. I think I bought it because it felt like permission. The two Polaroids on the wall catch the light, the first one of that rain-soaked window, the second of my tiny kitchen glowing in candlelight. They shimmer faintly like small altars of proof. Sometimes I imagine that if I ever moved again, I'd leave them behind, not as memories, but as evidence. Evidence that a woman once stood here, learned how to belong to herself, and refused to disappear quietly. I check my phone. Two new messages. The first is from Aunt Rose. "Savannah suits you. I can hear it in your silence. It makes me laugh, that quiet, knowing kind of laugh." The second is from an unknown number. No, not unknown. Just unsaved. "Mom, the house feels different without you. I hope the world feels better with you in it." I read it twice. Then I set the phone down, not to ignore her, but because this time I don't need to answer right away. By noon, I walk to the Riverside Market. The same vendors greet me with nods and small smiles. The air smells like cinnamon and rain. I buy a bouquet white lilies and two yellow daisies and carry them home in brown paper. When I reach my apartment, I set them in a chipped glass jar beside the window. The petals glow softly against the light, their reflections shimmering on the wall. I take my camera and capture it, click, flash, whir. When the photo develops, I pin it next to the others. 3 now. The room feels fuller, as if every image adds another heartbeat. I sit with my journal and write slowly, the pen gliding across the paper. I thought home was a place that wanted you. But maybe it's the place that lets you leave and still remembers your light. The words spill easy. No hesitation, no rewriting. It's strange how language returns once you stop explaining yourself to people who never listened. I flip through older pages, the ones from the motel the road the first night here. Each entry is shorter, softer. The sentences have fewer apologies. I write one more line beneath today's entry. Sometimes you have to become the silence to be heard. Evening comes slowly in Savannah. The light lingers longer than anywhere I've lived before. The city seems reluctant to let the day end. I light a candle on the table, a ritual now. One flame steady and sure. The wax pools quickly reflecting the glow of the window above it. I pull the camera toward me again. One last photo for this story. Click, flash. The film hums out blank at first, then growing into life, the candlelight, the flowers, the faint outline of me at the table. I pin it under the others. 4 photos. A sequence. A life stitched together by quiet persistence. For a long while I just sit there watching the light. I think of my family sometimes not with anger, not even with longing, but with an understanding that feels older than I am. We were all just playing the roles we were handed. Mom needed someone to depend on. Dad needed peace at any cost. Lila needed to shine. And I needed to disappear until I realized I didn't have to. They'll learn too, maybe, in their own way. I hope they do. The candle burns lower, the air soft with wax and sugar from the cake I baked this morning, just a small one, vanilla, unevenly frosted. There's no one to cut it with, no one to sing. I take a bite straight from the plate. It's imperfect, a little burnt at the edges. It tastes like mine. I whisper happy birthday, Maya, again, not to mourn, not to repeat, but to celebrate that the words finally belong to me. The sky outside deepens into amber and then violet. Shadows move across the wall, gentle as passing waves. I don't blow out the candle yet. I let it burn until the wax spills over, pooling beneath it like a small sun. When I finally do, the smoke rises slowly, curling soft, graceful. The scent lingers long after the light's gone. In its place, a faint glow remains, not from fire, but from the way evening remembers warmth. I sit in that glow and breathe. Not the shallow kind I used to do between expectations, the deep kind, the alive kind. And as the room folds into darkness, I see it, the reflection in the window. Not faint, not ghosted, clear, whole. The light stayed, and so did I.